Hello one and all, and welcome to another week of writing and publishing books. My name is Dimitris Girgiris, I write LitRPG books, and over these weekly videos I try to get through the highlights of my work week. So if you enjoy the process of looking into a somewhat interesting profession on the weekly, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to this channel. With that said, it's Monday and I'm ready for another week of preparing for my next series. This week, I will be working from a small town in the north of mainland Greece called Ceres. I'll try to visit different cafes every day, and this time it's a place called Blue Collar that was recommended to me, and it got me hooked because it was playing the X-Files theme song when I arrived. In any case, today I'm finishing the list of beats I want my story to hit and will start outlining it. I guess this is as good a time as any to explain the two main ways people prepare to write. Punching, or writing by the seat of your pants, means that the author is making things up as they go. Such authors might have a general idea of where they want their story to go or prefer discovering where their characters might take them, so they sit down and just write. The other end of the spectrum is outlining, which is what works for me at the moment. Outlining means that I write down, an outline of what I want to happen in the book. In any case, before I start working on my new books, I had to take care of some publishing related emails. On top of being an author, I run a publishing company that translates books from English to German and publishes them, so I had to send an email with the next projects to one of our translators. Next, I had to go through the notes in the chapters my editor left for me over the weekend. This will be the last book in the Physics of the Apocalypse series, and I hope that it's out by the time you see this video. In any case, you can find a link to my books in the description of the video below or in my profile. The edits took me around an hour, and with that taken care of, I was able to get back to my outline. I did manage to outline a bit more than 5 pages of the story, and I have to say I'm absolutely in love with the characters. I can't wait to get more involved with the story. But I think I've worked enough for today. I guess I'll spend the rest of my day playing Baldur's Gate 3. Today, I will be continuing my outlining, but first I have to take care of a few publishing related emails. A couple of our beta readers have finished reading one of our romance titles, and I had to make sure they were okay with it and would like to move on to the next title. Also today, I am visiting a different cafe called Pegnion, which is the Greek word for game. Apparently, the owner is also an author, and I sent them a message to have a chat when I found out. Anyway, now that I'm here, I should get to work, but I suppose I should first explain how I handle outlining. Only once my outline is ready can book writing commence, but of course the story might grow beyond the outline as well. Since creating is very personal, there is no right way to do it, and anyone who says so probably has a limited understanding of the creative process, or they're selling you something. What works for me is creating a list of things I want to happen in my story. Then, I will start writing the first version of the outline on paper. Since I'm making a lot of things up while outlining, I find that the reduced speed of pen and paper helps me getting in the flow. I usually aim for 500 pages per day, which is what I'll try to achieve today, and once I'm done, I go over it again to transfer it on my laptop. But I'm not just copying it. When I look at the outline on the paper, I try to think of ways to expand it as I'm typing, making the extended second version of the outline that will serve as the guide for the actual writing of the book. This might sound like a long process, but it works for me at the moment and I enjoyed it quite a bit. Yesterday, I managed to take care of the first part of the story, where our heroes have their lives upended and decide to leave for the big city. In this case, it's not a metropolis of course, but a magical city that sprang up in the vicinity of the magical university. Today, I will be focusing more on the people they meet there, the new habits they need to create in order to make their way into the university, and the new hurdles they'll need to overcome. I wrote around 3 pages before I had to take a break, walk back home and take Poco to the groomer. While I waited for Poco to get a haircut, I went to a different cafe and continued writing. I think I made good progress today, having made sure that the characters are settling in the new town with jobs of their own and working toward their goal of entering the university despite all anomalies. To do that, they first need to get into more trouble, and I set the hooks for it today. I managed to hit my goal of 5 pages and went to pick Poco up from the pet salon. I did a little prep work on where I want the series to go after this and shut my laptop down at around 5 p.m. Today we will do a bit of shopping in the city center, or maybe just window shopping, and then go to an open-air cinema to watch the new Hercules Poirot movie. Tomorrow I'll carry on with our hero's struggles and maybe even reach the point where they finally get accepted to the university. It's Wednesday and I went to this cafe called Arcudos that even has a decor on its ceiling. The Wi-Fi was crap here, but this worked out quite nicely because I had very few distractions while outlining. I managed to write just enough for our 4 characters to get through most of the trials and tribulations that come before getting into the university, but still have to think if I actually want them to take some kind of test. I suppose this is going to be tomorrow's problem though. I thought that because I hit my goal of 5 pages of handwritten outline early, I would take some time and relax, but then I checked my emails. One of our beta readers sent in quite a few comments for one of our translations, and due to an error on my side, I had to take care of them myself, one by one. That took me a good 2 hours, during which I was just listening to the latest Critical Role episode. With that done, I checked my emails again and saw that one of our newest narrators had finished narrating the first book in a LitRPG series we recently put out in German. Being the first time we worked together, I wanted to make sure everything was okay, so I also ran a check on my end, and it turns out I had a small request for him before finalizing the files. In any case, I sent him an email and prepared the paperwork for submitting the audiobook to our distributor, hopefully tomorrow. In the end, it was around 9 p.m. when I finished everything and relaxed on the balcony of our Airbnb, watching the remainder of my Critical Role episode. I hope tomorrow will be less busy. It's Thursday, and the fact that I won't be able to finish outlining the first book is slowly settling in. A friend of ours visited us at our Airbnb, so I only started working at around 12. This is another cafe called Fuzzy Logic with nice graffitis outside and great music. Actually, most of the cafes so far had great music playing, even though I mostly use earphones when outlining so that I don't get distracted. Today, I received payments for our German audiobook, so I needed to do some admin work. Since I like to be on top of things, whenever money comes in, I update all files on my end. This way, I know what the progress of each book is in terms of return of investment, and also know the amount of royalties I'll need to pay my authors. This took me around an hour because I did a stupid mistake while calculating it, but after I completed this task, I sent a couple of emails and closed the laptop to continue outlining. I usually don't need music when writing or outlining back home in Berlin because German doesn't distract me. However, I do need some music when English speakers are sitting next to me, or in this case, Greek people. Anyway, I'm on a drum and bass phase at the moment, and it really helps with getting in the flow fast. I moved along with the outline, eventually reaching the point where they are accepted into the university. Around halfway through my session, the cafe closed for midday break, but I got another coffee before it did and stayed outside to continue working. I made sure to take extra notes about the university reception ceremony because I believe this will be one of the most epic scenes for this book. The characters have been trying to get accepted in the university for quite some time, and the first impression should blow them away. There are banquets and talks and magical hallways, bonfires, and welcoming packages with bags of holding. I also managed to outline the first couple of days in their orientation week, but more about that tomorrow. I wrote my 5 pages, so I'll take the rest of the day off. Last day of the week, and there's no way I'm finishing the outline of what I think will be in book 1 today. I went to a cafe called Volta at around 11 AM and got to work because I knew I had a lot of things to do. I checked my emails and saw there are a few more chapters worth of edits to go through for my Physics of the Apocalypse book 3. Also, I got an email from a female German narrator who is offering to narrate one of our German romance titles. Audiobooks in romance still hold a big question mark for me, as I do not think the market has enough demand to justify the costs, but either way, it's always good to connect with people. Finally, a very short story I had written from the point of view of my favorite sapient corgi was recorded as an audiobook in German. To be honest, this title will most definitely never make back its investment, neither as a translation nor as an audiobook, but I just wanted to do it because I know how much the narrator wanted to perform it. So I sent it to our distributor and hopefully it will go live next week. In any case, I managed to get back to outlining at around 12. I will be working more on the orientation week for our 4 main characters. I thought it'd be a good idea to give them a quest that asks them to visit and explore many areas of the university. This way, they will both have knowledge of the university and its different parts, and the readers will also get a good idea of just how extensive it is. Namely, they will go through the magic library and around a dozen other rooms and important places of the university before the work week ends. The rest of the orientation week is going to be focused on extracurricular activities before we move on to the actual courses and lessons they're going to have. Since I've created a whole curriculum for them, and in fact one of the main reasons I wanted to write this story was to go deep into the magic system and the education around it, I plan to be very detailed with it. Before we get into the actual courses though, I have something else in store for them. I want there to be an antagonist, meaning a big baddie. Despite them being too weak, since they don't even have their magic yet, I want the first breadcrumbs to make their appearance. So I planned a small magical mishap that only barely involves our heroes, but insinuates that there are evil things at play. I also wrote some of what comes after and the first courses of the university, but I think this will be a fun thing to talk about next Monday. This wraps up my outlining for this week. I have 2,500 pages of outline, and even though I'll probably only work for 3 days next week, I hope that there will be enough to wrap up the first book, which will probably include the first year of their studies. In any case, thank you very much for joining, and please do let me know if there's something you would like me to address in the book when I eventually start writing it. See you next week. Okay, bye!